When it comes to alternative and complementary therapies, aromatherapy is at first glance probably the most easily accessible of them all. Walk into any shop selling shampoos, massage oils and bath products and you'll see the word aromatherapy liberally scattered along the shelves, describing a whole host of products, ranging from scented soaps to therapeutic air fresheners designed to aromatically harmonise every room in the house and even your car if you so desire. However, it takes a great deal more effort than a trip to your local chemist or health food shop to understand this fascinating and highly beneficial form of therapy based upon the oldest known methods for treating illness known to man. There was a time, and comparatively speaking, not so very long ago, when every household turned to its own ancient recipes for plant remedies if a member of the family fell ill. Aspirin was originally derived from the willow tree, and digitalis, used in the treatment of heart problems, came from the purple foxglove, once found in the majority of English country gardens. The opium poppy's precious morphine is to this day one of the most effective painkillers ever discovered, and anyone who suffers the discomfort of constipation will be well acquainted with the laxative qualities of dried senna pods from the cassia tree. Interestingly, it was no accident that during the late 19th century empire-building travels of the British abroad, gin and tonic developed as the most fashionable drink. The tonic water contained quinine, derived from South American tree bark, which was very effective in the treatment of malaria. And although our modern tonic water only occasionally contains quinine, it's a drug that is still extremely valuable in the care of present-day malaria patients. Now, although from ancient cavemen onwards, plants were readily consumed for their medical properties, aromatherapy is far more concerned with the external use of very specific plant extracts, better known as essential oils. As the name aromatherapy suggests, it's the smell or the aroma of these oils that is primarily of benefit to health. Until you stop and think about it, few people realise just how strongly they are affected by smells and scents. This is because the part of the brain that interprets smell also governs our emotions, and the two are most definitely linked. The smell of the sea invariably brings back happy memories of childhood holidays, and as a result, a mere breath of sea air can often instill a sense of calm and well-being. In exactly the same way, a mother's perfume, the smell of a new car, baby powder, geraniums, freshly baked bread, brewing coffee, mown grass, and Christmas pudding are just a few examples of the kinds of aromas that make us feel good in everyday life. It's therefore perfectly logical to take this principle a step further and deliberately induce the health-giving properties of such smells, which is fundamentally what the practice of aromatherapy is all about. However, you're obviously not going to find essential oils of new car or mown grass on any chemist's shelf. And when you're faced with such exotic options as ylang-ylang and bergamot, you might well wonder where on earth to begin. Despite the fact that this program will give you lots of ideas for incorporating aromatherapy into your day-to-day life, nothing is quite as effective as a consultation with a fully qualified aromatherapist to set you off on the right track. Meet Anne Tocknell, a very experienced aromatherapist who helps a variety of clients with a wide range of ailments. It's through the advice of a trained therapist like Anne that you will learn how aromatherapy works on a far deeper level than smell alone. Essential oil is one of the few substances that can penetrate the skin and enter the bloodstream, which does mean that to get the best from aromatherapy, a more specialist knowledge is required. However, you don't have to be ill to consult an aromatherapist. You might just want to boost your energy levels, and there are lots of techniques that she can use to help you. In the first instance, any qualified aromatherapist will ask sufficient questions to build up a picture of your health and lifestyle. Like most alternative or complementary therapies, aromatherapy is practiced holistically, which means that it's concerned with treating the person as a whole, rather than concentrating on any given set of symptoms. Okay, so you might turn to aromatherapy looking for relief for a specific health problem, but there's an awful lot to be said for regular sessions to strengthen your own body's metabolic processes, rather than wait for something to go wrong. The old adage that prevention is always better than cure was never truer, as you are about to discover. At this point in the proceedings, it's really helpful to concisely define aromatherapy as the use of essential oils from organic plants to heal and maintain health and vitality. An essential oil is a complex mix of chemicals extracted from a specific plant. Each oil has its own range of healing qualities, and some are very well known indeed. Lavender, for example, is generally associated with sleep and unwinding at the end of a stressful day, so it's often a constituent of relaxing bath oil, but it can offer a great deal more than the answer to an insomniac's prayer. You'll perhaps be surprised at just how much even the smallest quantity of pure lavender essential oil can cost, but you need to remember that it takes in excess of 420 pounds of lavender flowers to make about 10 pints of essential oil. Some oils are even more expensive again because, for instance, the same quantity of rose flowers will only yield about 1.5 pints of essential rose oil. In fact, if you think of it in terms of 30 beautiful roses in full bloom, and we all know how much they can cost to produce every single drop of essential oil, you soon realise why the price is so high. Remember this when you start to buy essential oils, and as a general rule of thumb, if it's too cheap, then the quality is likely to reflect this. If you want the best results, get the finest essential oils possible, but you will have to pay for the privilege. Make sure that you keep your essential oils in dark-coloured, airtight bottles, because just like pure perfume, the oils are very concentrated and will evaporate very rapidly if left open to the tiniest amount of air. Also, sunlight will cause deterioration, so great care needs to be taken with storage. These oils must never be used undiluted unless professionally advised to do so. They are extremely strong and would cause stinging and in some cases quite severe allergic reaction if applied directly to the skin. They need to be mixed a few drops at a time with carrier oils such as grapeseed, soya or wheat germ before being massaged into the skin. Massage has actually proved to be the most effective way of using essential oils in aromatherapy. Typically, you would use up to 3 drops of essential oil to a teaspoon of carrier oil, and even less if you were dealing with very sensitive or facial skin. It's interesting to note that although these aromatherapy essences are called oils, they are not in the slightest bit oily in consistency. Because aromatherapy concentrates on the sense of smell and absorption through the skin, the massage process is doubly beneficial when essential oil is used, with the aroma released from the oils warming on the skin, enhancing the healing quality of the massage dramatically. There are lots of other ways to use aromatherapy, with one of the most popular being an aromatherapy burner. Here, a few drops of essential oil are sprinkled into the burner with water, and as the water evaporates with the gentle heat from the nightlight, the room is filled with the chosen aroma. Many people use lavender in this way to fragrance a bedroom before sleep, to help with insomnia and also disturbed, fretful sleep. You could, of course, use an aromatherapy candle, but the heat from the burner will continue to scent the bedroom for some considerable time after the nightlight has been extinguished. Remember, neither option should be left alight while you sleep, as concern over the house burning down is definitely not conducive to a peaceful night's rest. Bathing in aromatherapy oils is very easy to manage, and you do have the option of using a single essential oil or a blend. Run a warm bath, not a hot one, as the oils would evaporate too quickly, and simply sprinkle up to 5 drops of oil onto the water and then agitate thoroughly. Relax in the bath for at least 10 minutes to truly appreciate the benefits, but do avoid splashing the water in your eyes. You can bathe like this perfectly safely every day, and of course vary the oils you use according to your own specific requirements. The practice of inhalation over a bowl of boiled water was for centuries the best known treatment for stuffed up noses, colds and flu, and there are still people to this day who know nothing about aromatherapy but absolutely swear by this low-tech cure-all. Camphor, a crystalline substance that was once used for mothballs, was commonly vaporized in this way, but is definitely not advised by aromatherapists, as the fumes can be quite toxic despite clearing the airways. However, the inhalation method is very useful indeed with less strident essential oils. Eucalyptus would be a much better option for such cold-like symptoms. Use about 10 drops of your chosen oil or blend to 2 pints of boiled water. Place a towel over your head, close your eyes and inhale the vapours for as long as comfortable. This is also very good for the skin, and you can always use a facial steamer with up to 5 drops of essential oil to really get the best of both worlds. Other simple methods include putting a few drops of essential oil onto a handkerchief so you can carry it anywhere with you. Aromatherapy-based potpourri can be very useful, and leaving a saucer of water with a few drops of essential oil on top of a radiator to evaporate will create the perfect healing ambience. Also, it's now possible to buy excellent face creams, body lotions and makeup infused with essential oils, which can be very beneficial. Again, returning to the slumber-inducing lavender, a night moisturising cream containing this essential oil can help you to a good night's sleep while rejuvenating your skin. Likewise, a day cream or makeup incorporating revitalising and stimulating rosemary would be just what was needed to counteract that Monday morning feeling. At this point, you may be wondering exactly how all the ancient remedies and old wives' tales developed into the very precise skills used by aromatherapists today, and a brief foray into 20th century French history will provide the answer. As medical science developed through the latter part of the 1800s, chemistry provided many new cures, and by the 1920s the creation of synthetic drugs had certainly changed the way that illness was treated. Gradually, more traditional plant remedies were phased out, but ironically it was a French chemist, René Guettefoss, who rediscovered the precious healing qualities of plant extracts in 1937. Whilst at work in his laboratory for a perfume manufacturer, he burned his hand very badly and plunged it into the nearest available bowl of liquid. Fortunately for him, it was essential oil of lavender, and his hand healed at exceptional speed with almost no scarring. With a fine scientific mind, Guettefoss experimented with other essential oils and first used the name aromatherapy for his findings. The outbreak of the Second World War shortly after this provided further validation of the healing properties of essential oils, when a field surgeon, Dr. Valnet, another astute Frenchman, had no choice but to turn to the more traditional remedies of his ancestors. Medicine was in very short supply, and with many injured men to treat, Valnet had great success with his aromatherapy improvisations. After the war, further research backed his findings, and in France to this day, most doctors will offer aromatherapy as routine medical treatment. In Britain, the medical establishment has been less inclined to mainstream aromatherapy, and it has developed as a complementary medicine practiced by trained therapists rather than doctors. However, the number of people turning to aromatherapy is growing rapidly, and even the most sceptical of clients is convinced of the benefits once they've tried it for themselves. Well, that's quite enough history and medical debate to be going on with. It's time to return to Anne and experience the healing properties of aromatherapy in practice. Having discussed her client's needs today, Anne has prepared an appropriate blend of oils and is ready to begin. Now, Anne does have a proper massage couch, but don't worry, an ordinary bed at home on which your recipient can lie flat will do just as well. Everybody tackles massage differently, and you can certainly experiment and work out your own routines. But over the years, Anne has found that this is a very successful aromatherapy massage indeed. As a starting position, Anne has asked Alison to lie face down on the couch and is initially working on the soles of her feet and the backs of her legs. This is a wonderful relaxation technique, and more importantly, it helps Alison to become accustomed to Anne's touch. With the left thigh exposed, Anne applies oil to her hands and begins massaging Alison's leg. Always use towels to cover areas not being massaged, as this will keep your recipient comfortable and help them to gain maximum benefit from the treatment. Pace yourself as you go. Remember, you've got 2 legs to work on, so don't get carried away at the outset. In this programme, we're focusing primarily on aromatherapy, and although Anne is clearly demonstrating all the techniques you will need to know, it would definitely be of benefit to pick up a really good book or programme about massage to help develop your skills. The back is very important for any type of massage, as the shoulders and the base of the neck are areas where tension really does accumulate. As Anne works on Alison's back, the warmed aromatherapy oils will release their maximum fragrance, and the atmosphere in the consulting room will develop a strong healing and nurturing character. Don't worry if your recipient drifts off into a peaceful sleep. It happens quite often with aromatherapy massage. When it comes to moving onto the front of the body, always place plenty of support under the legs when your recipient turns over. You can really massage the feet and work upwards towards the thigh, again remembering the two-leg principle. The next part of Anne's massage, concentrating on the hands and the arms, is lovely, and if you're pressed for time, can be a great place to start a shortened massage. This is something you can do very easily for an elderly friend or relative feeling under the weather, while simply sitting with them. Using aromatherapy massage on the hands is delightful, and just a 10-minute session will be of immense benefit in a hectic, stressed out day. You'll find that many health clubs and beauty salons offer aromatherapy facials, so if you don't feel up to exposing the entire body beautiful, you can still give this wonderful treatment a try. Of course, the aromas given off by the essential oils, so close to the nose, will be very much appreciated. And as your recipient breathes more deeply, the relaxation process is accelerated. Take a careful look at the way Anne is working, because if you find yourself suffering from a stress-induced headache, you can try these massage techniques on your own face. The results can be surprisingly effective, and if you manage to catch your headache as it's just beginning, you can save yourself a great deal of discomfort. Finishing your massage at the top, so to speak, will leave your recipient feeling wonderfully relaxed or equally energized if that was what was required. However, it's worth returning to the feet at this point, at the bottom end of the scale, to consider another very useful application for aromatherapy in another field of complementary medicine. Reflexologists who access the corresponding organs of the body through zones on the feet will often use aromatherapy oils to complement their treatments. Think of the soles of the feet as having the regions of the body mapped onto them, and you can basically work out what's where. For example, the head, more particularly the brain, is represented by the big toe and to a lesser extent the smaller toes. Specific areas below the balls of the feet correspond with the heart, liver and kidneys, and the zone for the sciatic nerve can be located at the base of the heel. The hands work in exactly the same way, although it's more difficult to pinpoint reflex areas. However, you don't have to concern yourself with this if you choose not to. A lovely massage that simply strokes and soothes the hands or feet of recipients of all ages with health-enhancing essential oils is hard to beat. What's more, even a brief 10-minute session will set you up for the busiest and most stressful of days. It's worth mentioning at this point that you may like to try other alternative therapies in conjunction with aromatherapy, and this is absolutely fine. Always tell your therapist what else you're trying, and the same applies for your GP, should you have cause to consult them. You may well find, as in Anne's case, that your aromatherapist is also qualified in reflexology, so you can often have the best of both worlds, as the two therapies complement each other very well indeed. While Anne continues with her client's treatment, we have an ideal opportunity to consider in greater detail the properties of the essential oils used in aromatherapy. There are many essential oils available, and we can't possibly consider all of them in such a short space of time. So a range of the best known and easiest to use when getting started have been selected. Nevertheless, this range will cover treatment for most common ailments, and of course, you can mix and match as required. It's hard to believe that natural plant extracts can at times be harmful to us, and there are just a few essential oils that should only be used by a qualified aromatherapist. Basil, clove, hyssop, sage, thyme and cinnamon all fall into this category, despite them being fairly innocuous in plant form. Also, if you're pregnant, it's advisable to seek the advice of a qualified aromatherapist, as there are certain essential oils that can be dangerous at this special time. Again, the same applies if you suffer from allergic reactions or are particularly sensitive to various substances and conditions. An aromatherapist can guide you properly, and you'll be able to benefit from this wonderful therapy whilst minimising any risks. The essential oil we've mentioned most frequently throughout this programme is lavender, and it's the perfect oil to begin with. If this is the only essential oil that you get around to using, it's the perfect addition to your first aid kit. Lavender is the least toxic of essential oils, and although it's well known for its sleep-inducing properties, it's perhaps most associated with the treatment of burns. It's a classic antiseptic, soothing and calming. There's evidence that lavender is helpful in the treatment of headaches, painful joints, wounds, insect bites and depression. The fragrance itself is fresh and very familiar, and a stalwart of the perfume and cosmetics industry all over the world. Having mentioned the dangers of sage essential oil, don't be mistaken into thinking that the same rule applies to clary sage, a most useful essential oil that is fine for home use. However, avoid using with babies, children or pregnant women. With a warming, nutty scent, clary sage is a wonderful muscle relaxant and perfect for easing premenstrual tension. It can also be helpful for sleeplessness and a whole range of psychological conditions such as claustrophobia, hyperactivity and compulsive obsessive behaviour. It's definitely uplifting, and if you recognise the smell but can't pinpoint where from, it's a major ingredient of eau de cologne. Mention bergamot and few people will instantly recognise where they know the name from, but pick up a packet of Earl Grey tea and you'll have the answer. Bergamot is the lovely citrus oil which gives this tea its distinctive flavour, and although lemony in smell, it's actually obtained from the rind of a small orange-like fruit from Italy. There are a few things you need to be cautious of with this oil, and it should not be used for babies and young children. Also, if used before going out in the sun, it will make the skin sensitive to the sunlight, or even a sunbed, and can cause pigmentation to be altered quite unpleasantly. However, the benefits of this essential oil are many, including helping skin conditions such as acne and psoriasis and even boils. It's definitely one of the most uplifting aromatherapy oils, and for anyone suffering with the Monday morning blues, lack of confidence, shyness or anxiety, it can be very valuable indeed. Anyone who experienced chickenpox as a child, or an adult for that matter, will be very familiar with our next essential oil, chamomile. One of the only forms of relief for itching spots was the pale pink, chalky chamomile lotion that smelt delightful. As an essential oil, it's just as good for treating skin conditions such as acne and eczema, and because there are no problems whatsoever with chamomile, it can be widely used. If you were to choose a word to sum up this essential oil, it would be soothing. And for everything from indigestion to temper tantrums, hay fever to premenstrual tension, the cooling and calming effect of chamomile is invaluable to any collection of aromatherapy oils. Look out for chamomile shampoos and conditioners, which are particularly good for fair hair, and beauty products, because for a touch of pampering and soul soothing, they're marvellous. Also, if you drink chamomile tea, save the used tea bags if you're suffering with facial puffiness, such as you get with hay fever. Once cooled, but still warm, place on the affected areas of your face and relax. The aroma of the chamomile will be sufficient to be soothing and anti-inflammatory. Our next essential oil, frankincense, is familiar thanks in part to endless school Christmas nativity plays. This gift from one of the three wise men to the baby Jesus has caused children much puzzling over the years, and for adults too, it's a mysterious and exotic sounding treasure. Highly prized in biblical times and still part of religious rituals today for many cultures, frankincense has a wonderful warm, woody aroma that is very useful as an inhalation for respiratory congestion. If the condition you are treating is more psychological, for example, excessive grieving over a bereavement, panic attacks, or just general nervousness, frankincense is precious indeed. Also, if you practice meditation or yoga, try using an aromatherapy burner with a few drops of frankincense essential oil in the room, as this will really help you to focus and channel energy positively. For anybody who has an interest in gardening, the geranium is a very familiar plant, and you only have to brush past or touch the leaves of any potted specimen to release the most delightfully earthy, sweet smell. As an essential oil, geranium is almost a perfect first aid kit in itself, being a valuable antiseptic and a multi-purpose tonic, all in one. Skin conditions respond well, and bruising as well as fungal infections can all benefit from treatment with geranium oil. Think of geranium and think of balance, particularly for women who are menopausal or people recovering from illness, as it's a very valuable restorative. Just one good tip here if you're travelling to exotic climes. A few drops of neat geranium oil on a tissue or a piece of cotton wool by your bedside while sleeping makes a really excellent insect repellent. But if you do get bitten, try it, again neat, on the bite several times a day to relieve the itching. It's highly unlikely that Australian koala bears ever suffer from colds, coughs and sniffles because their staple diet is eucalyptus leaves, renowned for keeping the respiratory system healthy. Now, as humans, we are not designed for eating eucalyptus leaves, so an essential oil for inhalation is by far the more commonly preferred option. Colds, bronchitis, flu, catarrh and sinusitis all can be eased with eucalyptus, and of course it's a major constituent of the decongestant vapour rubs that are available from all good chemists. It's recommended that you should avoid eucalyptus oil if you're taking any homeopathic treatments, so it's best to check with your homeopath if you're in any doubt. There's nothing more romantic sounding than jasmine, perhaps in part due to the fact that down through the ages it's reputed to have had quite significant aphrodisiac qualities. Jasmine is often called the king of the flower oils, with its wonderful exotic fragrance, and of course it's used widely in perfume manufacture. The aroma is uplifting in any form, and there are indications that as an essential oil it can be very helpful in childbirth, even speeding up labour. But do consult a trained aromatherapist to help you blend an appropriate oil. In the same area, jasmine can be very helpful for women suffering from postnatal depression, as well as being a good all-round antidepressant. Even the great bard of Avon, William Shakespeare, knew the power of our next essential oil, rosemary. In his play Hamlet, Ophelia, the cast-aside love interest of the young Prince of Denmark, says, "There's rosemary, that's for remembrance. Pray you, love, remember." It might have been way back in the 16th century, but Shakespeare was spot on, because in aromatherapy today, rosemary essential oil is still considered to be one of the best methods for stimulating the memory. There are many other uses for rosemary, ranging from constipation right through to hangover cures. It can be warming and comforting for shivering and muscle aches, and particularly good for stimulating the circulation. It's been suggested that rosemary can halt the onset of baldness, stimulating hair growth, but don't expect any promises on this score. However, just as any shampoo containing chamomile is good for fair hair, any shampoo containing rosemary is excellent for dark hair. The advice of this program is that you should consult a qualified aromatherapist if you want to use essential oils whilst pregnant, and this can't be stressed enough in the case of rosemary, as used unadvisedly it can cause problems. Distilling juniper berries can take you in two different directions. On the one hand, you can end up with the distinctly flavoured spirit gin, or on the other, you could end up with juniper essential oil. Although gin does have a wonderful perfume-like aroma, please don't get the two mixed up, as essential oil is most definitely not for drinking. Juniper oil is generally associated with toxin elimination and has superb purifying and cleansing properties. For rheumatism or aching joints, juniper can bring great relief, and taking a warm bath with about 5 drops of juniper oil added can ease painful urination or cystitis. Unfortunately, just like rosemary, juniper essential oil should be avoided in pregnancy, just to be on the safe side. Now, should you decide to try Indian head massage, your therapist may well use patchouli oil in a scalp treatment, and the smell is very distinctive. It's used extensively in the perfume industry because the musky, sweet fragrance is very long-lasting. In traditional Indian medicine, patchouli is widely used, hence its inclusion in Indian head massage, and it's also a valuable ingredient in Chinese and Japanese medicine as well. In aromatherapy, patchouli essential oil is useful in the treatment of dried, cracked skin and even burns and sores. Acne can also be eased by patchouli, likewise dandruff and greasy hair. So all in all, it's the answer to a hormonally exploding teenager's prayer. There's nothing quite as refreshing as the smell of lemons, so pick out any household cleaner and the chances are that it will be fragranced with lemon. As an essential oil, lemon is very uplifting and marvellous if you're feeling sluggish and lacking in motivation. What's more, you can use the lemon juice itself in beauty treatments, and any recipe book of old-fashioned cure-alls certainly relied heavily upon this acidic, fragrant substance. Warts, corns and verrucas can be abated with lemon, and there are great claims for its power in the treatment of cellulite. However, if you're buying lemon essential oil, make sure it's fresh because it doesn't keep well. It should be clear. If it's gone cloudy, it's no good and should not be used under any circumstances. Now, as the children's nursery rhyme would verify, if you've got lemons, you must have oranges to go with them. And our next essential oil, neroli, or orange blossom as it's sometimes known, fits the bill perfectly. Yet unlike lemon essential oil derived from the lemon fruit, neroli is actually extracted from the fragrant flower of the Seville orange tree. As a perfume, neroli has undergone a change of reputation through the ages, as in times long past in its native Spain, prostitutes wore neroli so that their prospective clients knew who to approach. But today it's associated with much purer intentions, as orange blossom has become the classic bridal fragrance. From a physical point of view, neroli is very good for the skin, particularly if you suffer from broken veins. However, it's the use of this oil in treating psychological conditions for which it's best known in aromatherapy. Neroli is the stress reliever of any essential oil collection and is number one for helping people suffering from shock. The calming aroma is always soothing and can help sedate the emotionally overwrought. It's also invaluable when controlling anxiety, exam nerves, driving tests, house moves, etc., and all can be faced with greater confidence with just a few drops of neroli sprinkled onto a handkerchief. If jasmine is the king of perfume oils, then rose is undoubtedly the queen, particularly in the fragrance-based industries. Rose oil is very expensive, but only a little is ever needed to release a sweet and luxurious aroma. For a woman suffering with PMT or menopause, it's very soothing, and young people with eating disorders can be helped with aromatherapy massage using rose oil. Allergy sufferers respond well too, particularly with hay fever, and it's also emotionally calming and soothing in instances of grief, sadness and regret. In recent years, tea tree has become universally well known because of its antiseptic qualities, most noticeably in shampoos, body washes and cleansing products. The aroma is distinctly medical, and although fashionable today, it was a lifesaver for the early Australian settlers, which is where tea tree originates. Anything fungal will be controlled by treatment with tea tree, and acne, candida, mouth ulcers, cuts, boils, thrush, stings and bites are just a few of the many conditions that this essential oil can relieve. Another very in vogue fragrance is the oriental sounding ylang-ylang, which you can even find in fabric softener for clothes. The name actually means flower of flowers, and the wonderful scent is a perfect stimulant, whether as an aphrodisiac or for promoting confidence. It can be helpful for problem skins, particularly if your skin type is oily, although ylang-ylang is predominantly used for treating psychological difficulties rather than physical complaints. The only word of caution is that it can help the skin to tan, which is great so long as you're aware of this fact and don't overdo it. Avoid using ylang-ylang for babies and children. The last oil which has been included on this very basic list is marjoram, which certainly sounds very culinary. It's actually similar, if rather milder, than oregano, and as an essential oil it has warming and comforting properties. For muscle aches, period pains, insomnia, headaches and migraines, marjoram is very effective. As a muscle relaxant in a warm bath, athletes and sports players regularly use marjoram, and as a massage oil it's very soothing indeed. This is an essential oil that really does work well for older people, but always take care when using on younger adults, measuring drops out very carefully, because in some cases it can cause a reaction quite opposite to the desired effect. Marjoram is best avoided for babies, children and pregnant women. There are undoubtedly oils that have not been included in this programme that may well prove to be your own particular favourites, but that is one of the great joys of aromatherapy. It truly is a journey of discovery, and as you steadily add more essential oils to your collection, you'll find that your insight into this often seriously underused therapy will not only inspire personal growth, both physically and spiritually, but also benefit all those around you. However, if you only get as far as filling your bedroom with lavender potpourri to help you sleep peacefully, the results will be equally satisfying. Also, try to think of aromatherapy as a way of improving your quality of life on a day-to-day basis. All of the methods for using aromatherapy that we've discussed throughout this program will not only promote relaxation, but will also improve the atmosphere in your living space dramatically. Lighting a candle, putting out an attractive bowl of potpourri, or even simply filling a vase with sweet-smelling flowers can bring life to the most oppressive of rooms. There's another added bonus to this, as visitors to your house will also benefit from the wonderful atmosphere you've created. A sense of calm and well-being is certainly contagious, and if others appreciate this too, you'll enjoy the companionship of friends who want to share their leisure time with you. It's impossible to define precisely why one house is more comfortable to be in than another, but if you look a little more closely into rooms where you feel comfortable and instantly at home, chances are that the forces of aromatherapy are at work. Even a little aromatherapy in your life will prove precious, and the words of a very experienced aromatherapist provide a very appropriate close for this program. She remarked that by the time many of her clients reached her, they had tried every medical treatment and therapy they could find, invariably over a period of years due to long hospital waiting lists for tests that often proved inconclusive. "If only I could be the first resort rather than the last," she astutely observed. "Then I could really do some good." This is food for thought indeed, and hopefully, if nothing else, this program will have opened your mind to the tremendous potential value of aromatherapy as an intrinsic part of 21st century life.